Hello, my family. Alright, so earlier today we had done a video, and now I'm going to take on part 2 of this day. First of all, I'm going to be doing seeds, but before I do that, I've got a couple things that I'm having to catch up on. And since this is my downtime for the next couple days, basically, though it has not rained yet, there was still no soil over at the co-op today. I already checked, so they got to replenish that. Anyways, I need to do some catch up. I have some heavy whipping cream here that actually needs to be used up right away. So I really am not going to use this much whipping cream at one time. So I am actually going to turn this into butter. At the same time, I am taking a package of cream cheese because, well, I liked whipped cream cheese. However, I'm not going to pay over $5 for a small container of whipped cream cheese. So for about $2, I'm going to grab me an 8-ounce block of cream cheese. I came home. I'm going to put it in my stand mixer. That's going to whip while this makes butter in my food processor. So let's go to work. Turn this over for you. And we go down here. Now, this is what I call multitasking. So we're going to go ahead and lock our food processor, and I'm going to get this started. I'm going to start on my low. And what I'm going to end up doing is allowing this to come to a cream. Once it becomes thick, like, how do I explain? Oh, whipping cream. That's it. Like whipped cream. Once it comes to that point, we'll be back because I'm going to show you how to make butter. If you don't want to pay the price of butter, or it's basically all the same anymore, it's the same thing as what heavy cream is. But if you happen to find a sale on heavy cream and it's cheaper than your butter, or like me, you have heavy cream, you got to do something with it, this is what you can do. So we're going to bring this and let this whip up. Once I get to that point, I'll show you what the next step on that is. In the meantime, I'm going to the stand mixer and whipping up some cream cheese. Okay, y'all, so the cream cheese is finished. Now we're back over here to our butter making. Now this here is starting, it's still runny, but it's starting to get a lot thicker. This is what we want. It's been about a minute, basically. This should take no more than 10 minutes to do. We're going to find out in this food processor. My other one took about 10 minutes, so let's see what this one does. Okay, so here's the next stage. That's where we have that thick cream, pillowy cream. Now we want this from here to be separated from the, what they call the whey or the buttermilk. So the next part is this will separate buttermilk from the buttercream. And at this point, I'm going to go ahead and add my salt. I'm going to add about a half or a full teaspoon of salt in here because I want salted butter. And I'm going to be using Himalayan sea salt. So this is a half teaspoon. I'm going to add 2 of these. Okay, now I'm going to let this finish, let it separate, and let's get our butter operating here. So far, 2 minutes. Y'all, this is amazing. Let's get to work. Okay, y'all. I'm going to show you right quick how this is turning into butter. It's now yellow. Let me see if I can bring this up. It's getting really, really thick now, and it's starting to separate from that cream. We're going to let this keep doing its thing because it's about to come together, and all that buttermilk is starting to settle away from the butter itself, and it's getting a nice yellow color. And then we have our cream cheese already finished right here. I'll show you right there. Got a pita chip just to show you how smooth. That's just real super easy. And I take that back. The price was about $1.50 for a pack of cream cheese, and I made about 8 ounces of whipped cream cheese. So yeah, I think I'll do that from now on. And this one's garlic and herb. Let's get back to work. All right, my family. So we have our butter. I don't know if you can see that. See that clumpiness there and then that liquidy? What we're going to do now is strain this. I have a bowl underneath the strainer. I'm going to pour all the whey in, or the buttermilk inside this bowl, while I have the cream or the butter on top. So I'm going to try and pull this out without creating a mess. And I'm going to pull my butter off my blades. As you can see, it just comes off real easy. We're going to have to rinse this and everything too. But right now, I just want to get this buttermilk off of my butter. And this took, on this machine that I have now, this took about 5-7 minutes. It really wasn't all as bad as my other one did, actually. Hang on, because I've got to get a little bit of butter that went down in here. We're going to get all this clean. So while this is sitting here draining, we're going to be cleaning all this up anyways. So I'm going to pour, see that buttermilk coming right out of that? And look at all that goodness. Look at that butter just sitting on top, y'all. This melts, this cooks, everything just like it. Well, it's real butter. It really is. And, I mean, is it economical? No. But if you had it for a pinch, or if you're trying to figure out what you're going to do with your heavy cream that you have in your fridge, you're not sure because it's about to go out of date or whatever, this is an option you can do. You can therefore afterwards portion out your butter and then just make and freeze it and use it for when you need it. Which that's exactly what I'm going to do, because otherwise it'll last maybe 2 weeks or a week in your fridge. So and I'm just going to go ahead and clean this out. We're going to let this sit while I clean out my utensil here. And once we let this sit a bit, I'll show you what the next step is to taking care of our butter. Alright, my family. Sorry about that. I was eating snow peas and hummus. I got hungry. So while the butter is draining, I'm going to go ahead and show you the next step on how I get my lights ready for our seedlings, and how I'm going to be using this metal rack I have in here in my dining room. That's going to be my grow station and keeping all my plants. For once, after 3 years, I've been growing them on my dining room table. So I'm using my dining room table for other means nowadays. So I'm just going to use the shelf to grow my seedlings with my heat mat. And I'm going to show you how we set this up. Alright, y'all. So I found I ran into some problems when, forget the lighting in here, y'all. It's different. It's in this room, and we've got the grow lights going on too. One of the biggest issues I found is my lights are too big for my shelving. So I've had to kitty corner it the best that I can, making sure that it can illumine this whole entire shelf for all my seedlings. Now, how I did this. Ingenuity, that's how. So I'm using these little S-hooks. All of this was purchased cheap over at Walmart. I think the S-hooks were $1.98. And then, now this chain, it depends on how much you get of it. The chain, I can't remember. This is what I've already had. But you can find this at Walmart too. And it's just a small type of chain. So what I've done is I S-hooked one end of my shop light. This is 5000K lumens on this light here. And then I S-hook clipped on the top of my rack. This is going to be adjustable to my level of, let me see if I can bring this down for you to show you. I can adjust by the chain length. As you can see here, I lowered this end all the way down to the bottom, so I can adjust by the chain length of what my plants are going to need. And then again, I can take it as they grow, adjust my length, and then just hook it up. Now on this side, because it was so long, I actually, let me see if I can bring you in closer without making y'all dizzy here. I had to make a loop triangle around the light itself, and then I S-clipped it right up here, taking both ends on one end of the other hook. This way I can adjust it as well to the depth of what I need. And this is what our light system looks like. Now I have cardboard on top of here because when I lay the heat mat, I want to be able to have this cardboard underneath it. It keeps its temperature better, and it stops the heat mat from getting overheated and burning my seedlings. This is the best way, and it is advised even on the box. They will tell you to put something like this underneath them. Put this back over here for you. So the next step that I'm going to do is how do I manage to make sure my lights are on my seedlings at all times? Because it's going to be hard to just do it for myself, leaving my lights on for almost 16 hours. So I will be right back, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to do that. Okay, now these were actually purchased on Amazon, but I have noticed now Walmart has these, and this is what's called a timer. There's a unit on one end, so I can plug in 2 lights on one unit. Now I am going to have to get another one because one I'm using now is on my quails. And at the time I got this, I didn't have the quails. So I am going to have to get another one because I have 3 lights with 3 shelves if I need it. I'm going to wait and see. But for right now, both this light and I have a regular grow light, which I'm going to use here, are going to be attached to my timer. It will be set for 6 a.m. and be shut off at 10 p.m. So, and that's how I do this. This system right here, I'm actually really excited to start using it because I think this is going to work out better than filling my entire table with plants, honestly. And it looks like later this evening after the ball game, basketball that is, I'm going to be able to start planting some of the seeds that we talked about. When I do this, I am going to show you how or what I'm being able to do and how I'm going to start my seeds, what I'm going to use, and we're going to set this up together. This is going to be fun, y'all. I promise you it's going to be fun. It's not stressful at all. And over the years, I've learned how to start my seedlings safely, effectively, and to keep from getting leggy plants. This is the first step. And I will show you the depth that you need because a lot of people never showed that. And let me get in better lighting for y'all. Okay, y'all. So a lot of places that I went looking when I first started growing seeds, nobody showed me the in-point depth of how close they would do by hand. But I never even got to have a visual. A lot of us like to have a visual of what's going on. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make it a little bit easier for y'all so that you know what to do when you come to your seedlings. For those of you who might have experienced the times like I did with those pesky long seedlings and nothing come of it, I'm going to spare you. I'm going to save you money on your seeds. I'm going to spare you the aggravation, and we're going to grow crops like you ain't never seen before. So let's go back to our butter making. We're still letting this drain, but it's just about finished. So I'll be turning you to the butter very shortly. Okay, my family. So our butter now has been pretty much drained, and we have all our buttermilk at the bottom right here. As you can see, don't toss this buttermilk. You can actually use it. It's thinner than the buttermilk you buy at the store, but you can use this for biscuits in place of milk. You can use this for bread in place of your milk. You can use this for salad dressings if you wanted to. Anything that you would use milk, use this buttermilk. That's what it is. It's buttermilk. It's amazing. Now I'm going to make sure I get the other particles of my butter that fell down in here, because we're going to take this butter to the sink now, and we're literally going to ball this up just like so, and I'm actually going to lightly squeeze it. As you see, this all come up in one hand. Look, y'all, this is butter. So now I'm going to take it to the sink. As you can see, I'm still getting buttermilk coming out of here. So I'm going to lightly squeeze it, but we're going to go rinse all this buttermilk off of this butter. And we're going to run it under cold water until all of this milk turns clear. So that's my next step. And once I get this done, we will be back and I will show you how I'm going to store my butter. Okay, y'all, so now our butter has been completely rinsed, and I got this cute little butter dish, and we're going to actually put our butter in here for the refrigerator. So what I'm going to do next, I'm going to set my buttermilk aside. I am going to take my big old blob of butter, and we're going to press it inside of our pan in here, making a nice... Now I'm going to use something else instead of my hands. I just don't, I mean, there's nothing wrong. My hands are definitely clean, but I just don't want my fingertips on it. I want a smooth finish. So I'm going to actually press it down with a spatula. Just like so. And this makes a smoother finish. Plus, I don't want the heat from my hands to melt my butter. And then after this, we're just going to pop this in the refrigerator, and that's it, y'all. We've got homemade butter. It's just as simple as that. I think it took approximately, you can do about an hour sitting your butter in the refrigerator, letting it strain out, getting all that buttermilk on it, and then take your buttermilk, put it in a canning jar, pop it in the fridge, and use it soon within a week. And that's, you get your buttermilk too. If you start getting, after rinsing all of your butter off and you get water in it, you can just easily just tilt it like this and get all your water out of it. And that's it. That's all there is. Now I'm actually going to pat mine dry from the top, just like so, and now I'm going to cap it off, and that's it. I have homemade butter straight out of my buttermilk, or my heavy whipping cream. So this is super cool, and I haven't shared this one yet, so I thought I'd go ahead and share it with you. If you ain't all noticed, we're multitasking today. Y'all, I just came back from being outside, and I get super excited this time of year. Signs of spring coming. Fresh eggs. We are starting to get our farm fresh eggs back again. I am super excited. I don't have to go buy my eggs right now. Between the quails and the chickens, we're starting to slowly come back. Every year, I don't fret. Many people have fret over, oh my gosh, my chickens stopped laying eggs. Honestly, I let my girls take their rest time. If it means one time in a year I have to go and buy eggs, which I do every winter, I buy one round of eggs. I wait on my girls. I give them that break because Lord knows I like to have a break. And I can imagine that gets tiring over time. So I enjoy their eggs, but I don't push my girls. I wait until they're ready, and I reap the harvest in the end. So this is exciting. I'm waiting now until we start getting fertile eggs, and we will be incubating. Get down. Y'all, oh, we will be incubating a new stock of Brahmas, hopefully. So we're waiting on that, and I will be doing some more quails this year also. So we got a lot going on in this homestead. I hope y'all ready to work with me, because it's going to be a lot of work, but it's going to be a whole lot of fun and a lot of cuteness in the end too. Okay, y'all, so I have the butter made. I have the whipped cream cheese made. I still got to put up one of my lights, and we got to get our seeds started. I am actually having to take a brief moment. I got to go watch a basketball game with one of our grandsons, come home, fix supper, and then we are going to get ready to do our seeds. We have to plant them. We will this evening, so bear with me. We're getting it done. All right, y'all. I am taking a break for a moment. We are going to be eating supper. I just opened up 2 cans of green beans that we grew from the garden last year and tossed it with some of that homemade butter. Lord have mercy, y'all. I don't know. I don't know how I ever did life before this. It's amazing. After we finish our supper, we are hitting the dining room table and we will be planting some seeds. I'm going to be using cells for planting our seeds in. This year it's going to be different. I usually use the black ones. I have some clear ones this year. I'm going to see how those work. We're going to be using the Jiffy Mix and some water. That's it. Cover, heat mats, and grow lights. I'm going to take you step by step, and we're going to be working on seeds together. We're going to have a sit down, basically. And just remember now, tonight, we are going to, at 7 p.m. Central, we are going to have our family table time. So this will be our live video. So look forward to that as well. Okay, y'all. So with this lighting, I'm going to try to show you how I do this. This is the timer I was telling you about. So what I've done, and it is hard to see, on the levels that I want it to be lit, I have the timer tabs up. The ones that I do not want lit, when they're supposed to be shut off, I have them, or no, it's the opposite way around. When they're lit, they're pressed down. When I don't want them on, they are pressed or pulled up. So it took me a while to understand this. Down for on, up for off. So I have this on from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. They will automatically shut off due to this timer. It is 1 unit, 2 cords. Now if I have to add another one, I'm either going to have to do this manually or I'm going to have to turn around and purchase another timer. I still have room and I'm using a surge protector unit because I've still got to add 2 heat mats onto this. So I'm going to go ahead and try to show you. We're using 2 shelves at the moment. We're not into 3 just yet. But I have our shop light here, which I told you was on our angle. These will be dropped down to our shelves pretty soon. And then this one here is an actual grow light. This is the one it's from Parafact Works. I received this in one of my homesteading groups on Facebook as a gift. There was a drawing I entered and miraculously I end up winning. So this has been a really nice one. It dims off and on. It goes from bright to lower. It's really nice on this one, so I can control even the amount of heat. The lights are so phenomenal in this light that it heats it itself too. So, but this is where we're at currently. So now we're going to go ahead and start planting our seeds together because it's time for planting. Okay, yeah, I'm going to try and show you the heat mats too. I have one thermostat unit and it has an extra plug-in. I don't know if you can see that. It's hard to see in this room, y'all. I'm sorry. Right here is an extra plug-in. So I have 2 mats up here. One is on this lower one. One is on the upper end. And what I'm going to do is take the upper end on its power cord and attach it to the heat thermometer. The heat thermometer and the bottom mat now are going to be attached to the surge protecting unit. This way I can operate both. Hang on a second. Both units here. Now I'm going to set my units for, let's see here. They're set for, yeah, I need to lower this down. Okay, I got to remember how to do this. I think it was holding, there it is. Now I'm going to go down. It was set on 80, so I'm actually going to set mine for about 70 degrees. That should be good enough. Then once you do this, I hold it again. And so now this is set and ready to go for growing as well. Now I have a bottom rack if I need it, and I'm probably going to end up using it. But right now, what's nice about these heat mats is they will not turn on unless it needs to. So at this point, they're not even on because it's warm enough in the house. That's the reason why I set them up on a thermostat, to keep them from overheating our seedlings. Now we're going to go about doing our mix. Okay, we are going to be using the Jiffy mix that I was telling you about from Walmart. Actually, it's just a natural organic seed starting mix. Now, I am actually going to be amending it just slightly, but not enough to injure the seedlings. If anything, it gives them nutrients to where I don't really have to give them too much fertilizer when they're needed. But it's very safe for a seedling. And all I'm going to be adding to this is vermiculite to make sure that my soil stays light and fluffy, so it promotes good root growth and more room for them to grow. The second thing I'm going to be adding is worm castings. Now mind you, I'm not going to use a whole lot of each one of these. I want to try to keep this as less dense and more safe for a seedling. So I'm going to have actually more Jiffy mix than the other two, but the other two will not hurt these. Now I did this last year instead of just the Jiffy mix, and I had very beautiful plants, y'all. So it's going to take a lot to do this. Now I've got this big old tote. I will tell you, I used this tote last year, but before I ever use it, I scrub mine in hot soap and water. You don't have to if you don't want to. I do it because I want my seedlings to be disease-free and safe all the way around. So I want to start fresh and new, and I want to make sure that my seedlings are going to have just that. Now I'm using a portion of these bags, and I really don't have a ratio for you all. I do use more Jiffy mix than I use anything, and then the rest I will add the vermiculite and all this. So I've got my Jiffy mix here. I've got about 1/4 of a layer on this small tote, and I'm going to just add about a handful or two of vermiculite in here. The vermiculite will also help keep it moist instead of drying out, because the Jiffy mix tends to dry it out. So alright, we're going to add this, and now I'm going to add a little bit of my worm castings, about the same amount. And I've got a big old chunk right here I can just break down. And I'm just going to break that up into my soil. Get down. Go on. I'm smoky, y'all. Always got to investigate what I'm doing. Alright, that'll be enough of these. So like I said, I'm not wanting to add a whole lot of fertilizer or anything. I'm amending the soil just a little bit. Now I will be adding some more Jiffy mix to this, and we are definitely not done. Definitely smells earthy. Alright, now we're just going to add a little bit more Jiffy mix in here. That's it. Mix this up really well, and then we're going to get this wet. I will not put this soil directly into my containers, because when you do, your seeds and all are going to float right out of this when you go to get it wet. I like to pre-wet it and then fill up my cups. So what I do is I'll take a warm water, and I'll just add this in here not this whole bowl. I'm just going to add a little bit. And then I'm going to start mixing this. And what I'm looking for is a soil that's going to hold together, yet be very light and feel like a wet sponge. When I get to that point, I will show you what I'm looking for. Let's see, right now, this just drips. So we don't want that. And we got a lot of dryness still in here. We need to get it all mixed up together. So make sure you blend all of this in here. Now, if you think you've added too much, you can always add some more Jiffy into it. And I'm making sure my soil is mixed all together. Now, let's see what we have. We have it where it's just slightly wet, just like a sponge. It drips a little bit, but it's not pouring. It holds together, yet crumbles very easy. So this is the perfect consistency of what we are actually looking for. Now, we're going to take this and fill up our trays. I'll show you the best way I do that. Let me get my hands cleaned out for you. I had to show this to you. When my husband and I purchased this, we were at a place called Dirt Cheap. They were actually going out of business. We saw this bin. They had a ton of Amazon products, so we got a lot of things dirt cheap. And no pun intended. But in one of them, we found these growing units. And so we knew we were going to start seeds, so we just bought them. We thought it was just these little cells right here with this bottom tray. Little did I know there was also a greenhouse dome lid. And this is what it came with, y'all. This is a vent that I can open and close to allow air to come into this. Now when they first seedling, I could turn it off. When they start to sprout, I can open up this vent. This thing also has a thermostat and a tester to test the humidity inside of it. This is going to be awesome. So we're going to use these and see how this works. Okay, so back to filling our cells. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep this in here not to make a lot of mess. I'm just going to run my soil over the top of these cells until I know that they are full all the way through. This keeps, for me, doing a lot of mess at my table, for one, because that's where I'm working at. And two, it makes sure that everything is neat and evenly put in here. Now I will be pressing this down just a little bit after I'm done. I'm going to flip this around and go ahead and fill the other side. Just like so. This brings so much satisfaction because I know spring is coming, and this makes me happy this time of year all the time because I know it's going to bring bountiful harvest of fresh vegetables that I cannot get anywhere else except from a garden. Oh, well, I can get them from a farmer's market too, but prices are getting expensive, and to grow my own means I don't have to spend that much. Alright, so now I filled up my tray. Now I'm going to make sure that this is pressed in here pretty good. All the way through. We do not want any air pockets, so I'm going to go ahead and press all my cells down. Once I get them down, I'm going to refill them. The reason we don't want air pockets is we want room for seeds and all, but if you have too much air, there's no place for your roots to go. So we want to take all air pockets out by ensuring that we've got these pretty tight, or not super tight, but we've got them filled all the way and there's no air in between. So just go through, pushing them down, and then we can always refill them afterwards. I'm going to go ahead and finish doing this, and once I get this done, we'll be right back. Alright, y'all, so what we're starting first is the ones that are going to take the longest, and this would be, right now, our eggplants. I told you I'm doing 2 different kinds this year. For 2 people, I figured there's 1 row of 5, so I am going to plant 2 varieties, making 10 different eggplants. So I'm going to take each one. Now to ensure, do I have enough? Let's see, yeah, I don't need that many. So I'm going to pop in at least 2 seeds per cell. This way I can ensure that I have at least one in case the other one does not germinate. And yes, some of these can be tedious to try to do 1 seed, but it's worth it. Now each one of these are a 1/4 inch depth space. So what I'm going to do is I leave so much at the top where I did not add soil, and I left that open because I am going to top my seeds instead of burying them deeper or anything else. I'm just going to top my seeds with my soil and cover them up to the 1/4 inch space. So as you see, I'm just popping 2 seeds in each cell, and I will top these. Now I'm going to put the rest of these away. I'm actually going to go get my marker right quick so I can label these. Okay, so these are our long diamond. So I'm just going to put long diamond eggplant and pop that right in its row so I know what I'm looking at. You didn't see that right there. There we go. Right there is where I popped that in. And then I'm going to start on the next row, and we're going to plant the Black Beauty eggplants. Again, same aspect, 2 seeds per cell. And again, I'm doing everything from the peppers to these. Every one of these are a 1/4 inch space in depth. So we're all going to be going just like everything else here. We're going so far with them, topping it off, and then I will be covering it. That one needed to move over just a little. There we go. Now these will take about 2 weeks to germinate, so it's good that I start these now. Probably should have started them a little bit sooner, but it'll be all right. At least I'm going to assure that I'm not going to get plants with flowers this time. I did that with my tomatoes and it was awful, y'all. Once they sprout, you've pretty much ruined them, or once they start flowering because they're stunted, and I'm not doing that again. Now I'm going to take another label, and I'm going to label this one Black Beauties. B-E-A-U-T-Y, eggplant. Again, pop it on its edge, and we're good to go. Now I'm going to do this with the rest of these are going to be pepper plants, different varieties. We have 4 different peppers. We have the Ozark Giants, the California Wonders, the Keystone Resistant Giant, and we have some pimento cheese. Now that was the timer that just went off when you saw that flash. So both the grow lights are off for the night. They will go back on at 6 a.m. I love these timers, and they really are not that expensive. Walmart has them for around $10, y'all. So if you're able to invest in them, they'll make your life a whole lot easier. So I'm going to go ahead and finish the rest of these seeds, and when I get them done, I will be right back. Okay, y'all, so here's where we're at. We have our long diamond eggplant, we have our Black Beauty eggplant, Keystone Giant bell peppers, California Wonder bell peppers, pimento pepper, Ozark Giant bell pepper, spearmint, and peppermint. Now what I do is each of them were all 1/4 inch depth space, so I pretty much did a top layer like this, and I'm just now going to sprinkle some soil on top, not to mess up my seeds, and I'm just going to lightly tap the soil on top, and this way they're covered about a 1/4 inch all the way through, and I'm not disturbing my seeds or popping them any deeper than necessary. I have been known to do that too. I've used chopsticks before and popped my seeds in. They were too long to germinate, because, or some of them didn't even pop up at all because I had to travel way further than what I was supposed to have them sprouting anyways. So in other words, they were too deep than 1/4 of an inch. So this time I'm just making sure I don't do that, and I'll just sprinkle some of this on top over the seedlings, and we're good to go. The hardest ones to see were the peppermints. They were super tiny, and the peppermint was black. The spearmints were white, but again, super tiny. So that one was a bit touchy for me. But we got this, y'all. And that's it. Now this is how I am going to do all of my garden seeds. I go based by the calendar date. I showed you all how I go on my calendar. I'll go back the amount of time from my last frost date, which for me is April the 1st. And I will count back as to when these seeds were to be planted indoors or started indoors. For me, on these that I'm planting this evening, this was to be 8 to 10 weeks. So it is time now to get these started, and we have. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a little water in the bottom of my tray. I have all my seeds covered, so that's good. And this is good. So much different than what I've been doing, y'all. Sorry about that. Now, I'm going to pull this out of this tray for right now. And I'm going to add a little water in the bottom of my tray. This way, they can water from the bottom and not from the tops. To water them from the bottom ensures that they won't mold. I'm also going to be putting a circulating fan in here as soon as these plants start to grow, which will ensure that one, their stems will be strengthened as they grow, and two, that it keeps the air circulating to keep the soil, well, not moist, but air flowing. In other words, it will keep mold from forming on top of my soil. Now at this point, we're going to take our cover like so, and I will have to turn the vent off on this. I'm going to go ahead and pop on this new, I don't know how long those will last, but we will definitely find out. I'm going to pop on their little meters here, thermostats, and that is it. I want to make sure that these vents are off, and they are, and that is all. Now I'm going to put these on our shelf, and we're going to wait for about 2 weeks. I will keep you in progress on how this is going. The next round is going to be the tomatoes, which is the San Marzanos. You know I've been waiting to do those. We have our French thyme, our wild zatar. So I am waiting to get these done next. That will be my next tray. And I'm going to put this up, and we will be right back. Alright, my family, so this was a long video about different things that we had done today, from making butter to whipped cream cheese to learning how to plant our seeds that would be effective. Now, I do have a mixture of various type. I have quite a bit from M.I. Gardner. I still have some from Baker Creek. I have very few from Ferris Morris, which I'm not a really big fan of those. We're going to try that. That is from my peppermint. And then I have a new one called Back to Roots, and that is where my spearmint comes from. I'm going to see how these work, because it's not, I'll get these seeds where I can get them, it seems. So I'm willing to take and do what I have to, just like the rest of you do. You know, and if that's all you can do is go to the Dollar Tree to get your seeds for $1, please do so. Try something, even if it's just a little bit, y'all. Even if it's in a small flower pot. Grow something. Taste what it feels, or what it tastes like to grow your own. Put your hands in dirt and feel what it's like to just connect with nature. So I'm hoping this video helped you. I hope I gave you some ideas, and I'm hoping that the soil working with you gave you some ideas that you can do, making it safe for your seedlings. And if nothing else, a $5 bag of Jiffy Mix will absolutely work. There's nothing wrong with that. As a matter of fact, it's about as safe as you can get for your seedlings. So please do that. Try to stay away from soil. Soil is the hardest one to grow properly. But if that's all you can do because your soil is free, do what you have to do, y'all, to get those seeds planted. Check on your last frost date, and remember, count back from that time when to start your seeds. I love you all. I still have more planting to do, and I want to get these seeds on my shelf because I'm running out of time. I love you. I will see you next time. Matter of fact, I will see you tonight on the live feed at 7 p.m. Central. Mwah, from Parton's Heritage Homestead.